So I'm going to transition now to our first featured artist. So we're really lucky. We invited Dr. Chip Thomas to be a guest here on this program, and he wasn't able to be with us live, but he very generously shared his artwork with us and also shared a written statement that I'm going to read. So Dr. Chip Thomas is a photographer, a public artist, and a physician who's been working in a small clinic on the Navajo Nation since 1987. And there he coordinates what's called the Painted Desert Project. And his artwork often focuses on the toxic legacy of uranium mining, specifically on Dinetah, or the Navajo Nation. So these first few images that I'm going to show are from his piece titled Hope and Trauma in a Poisoned Land. And this was featured at the Kokono Center for the Arts in 2017. And I'm going to read a little bit of his artist statement about this particular series of artwork. Chip writes, while many people may be aware of the invaluable contribution of the Diné code talkers during World War II, few are cognizant of the contribution of Diné uranium miners towards the end of World War II and during the Cold War. Anglos first discovered uranium on the reservation in 1943. Diné miners worked over 500 mines on the reservation until uranium prices dropped in the mid-1980s. More than 5 million pounds of yellow cake was mined, in which the process released heavy metals, radon gas, and low-level radiation from the rock. By 1950, the Public Health Service knew radiation levels at the mines exceeded levels considered safe, but did nothing to warn the miners for more than 2 years. The levels of radioactive radon gas and radon particles, known as radon daughters, were so high in reservation mines, they recommended wetting down rocks while drilling to reduce dust, which the miners breathed, giving respirators to the workers, mandating daily showers, frequent changes of clothing, etc. Sadly, the recommendations were ignored, and the Public Health Service was complicit. This is similar to the attitude of the Public Health Service towards Southern African American men in the Tuskegee syphilis study from 1932 to 1972 to determine the natural course of syphilis in the human body, even after the discovery of penicillin in 1928. The Public Health Service decided in 1954 to allow natural events to unfold in the mines and the miners' lungs without explaining the hazards involved. As a physician, Dr. Chip Thomas writes, as a physician at a small clinic on the Navajo Nation since 1987, many of my patients have suffered and continue to suffer the effects of uranium mining. I asked a coworker whose father worked as a uranium miner in the mid-60s and who died of uranium-related cancer if she'd share with me any memorabilia she had of her father from that period. She shared with me stories of her dad and provided photographs from that period. Her mother died of a uranium-related cancer, and she has an older brother presently suffering from a uranium-related cancer. I choose to work with translucent fabric to emphasize the penetrative, see-through nature of radioactive material and to place the viewer in the perspective of a radon daughter. The see-through material also references the ephemeral, fragile, and transient nature of our life experience at a time when the new Secretary of Energy seeks to, quote, make nuclear cool again in a new atomic age. And lastly, these last few photographs that I'm going to share from Chip's body of work are titled Gamma Goat, and this is what he writes about this series of photographs. The Navajo Nation has an unemployment rate at about 50%. While the tribe is pursuing investment and job opportunities, much of the land under consideration for development is contaminated with uranium from over 500 uncapped mines, which deters businesses from investing. The companies who abandoned the mines in the 60s and 70s when the price and demand for uranium dropped aren't legally bound to clean up their sites per mining laws from the 1800s, when prospectors were mining for precious minerals. Concerned with the possibility of accidental contamination by wandering into abandoned mine sites, the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, created a coloring book for grade school kids on the res. The star is, quote, Gamma Goat, who introduces himself saying, "That's right, I'm named after the most powerful form of radiation given off by uranium, gamma rays. I know how to stay away from areas where radiation may harm me, and I'm here to teach you, your friends and family, how to be safe too." Meanwhile, contamination continues to affect the land, water, animals, and human beings. And lastly, Chip shares a few links here, which we will also put into the chat, about how to support Indigenous-led uranium activism. And we will share those links in the chat as well. So I want to thank Chip for sharing his incredible artwork and his work with us today.